programs cancel.
Yeah, because of the corona. But lots of programs are happening online too because of the
Yeah,
same reason.
yes, including now. So how many member of SONA? All member.
I don't really know.
And
We have around 1,400 right now.
1,400, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have around 2,500 architects registered in the
Facebook
council,
Live सुरु भइसक्यो है
and only like 1,400 are registered in SONA right now. So most of them, we are
I
like,
see.
yeah. All right. So we are, I think, online.
Okay.
Shantala, I think we can start basically.
Okay. So. So I can start now. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 18th session of Architect Speaks, organized by the 13th Executive Committee of SONA. So today we have Dr. Laretna Adishakti from Indonesia, and we'll be talking about the importance of community involvement in conservation of riverfronts in Indonesia. Riverfronts have always been really important to us as a civilization because at first it started as a sustaining factor for growth of the civilization. Then we had our cultures and religious values attached to it. And now riverfronts are even being used as recreational spaces. So through this change, our riverfronts have changed a lot, and it's really important that these changes are also catered to the need of the growing community, and the needs are always changing. So it's really important to find the balance between conserving the old and adding the new functions into it. So we are really honored to have Dr. Laretna here today with us to talk about her experience. She's been working a lot in heritage conservation in Indonesia. And one thing I found really remarkable about her works were how she involved community into it. So one of her really interesting works were the Borobudur conservation, where she also initiated the concept of field school in Borobudur, which actively involved members of the community into the project so that development could happen with the coordination of community, which is one of the most successful ways of developing public spaces. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over the presentation for Dr. Laretna Adishakti. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you very much to invite me to talk. It's very interesting program you have. It's already number 18. It's a lot. Yeah, I'm actually the newcomer related to the issue of the river. Later on, I will mention about this one. But actually, indeed, very important to have the community working together with us. And my present today, because I'm part also of the community. So that is the one that I would like also to present for today. I would like to share. Yes. The issue of I call it with the Saujana. conservation of river in Indonesia. So this is the ones that I would like to talk today. And the role of community is very, very important in this case. You can see the pictures is actually the river behind my house. And also there is a moment that I have an opportunity to talk with the community through a seminar that the community in Yogyakarta of the river, they organize what is called jamboree. So it's called River Jamboree. So for my presentation, this one is actually from an architect living in the riverside. So my presentation will be in a 5-part. First, I would like to have the introductions. And then later on, I will share the experience of many people in Indonesia, led by my colleagues from my university, is the Indonesian community movement. And in this case, it's not only for the river, but also for the heritage, because I come from the heritage, actually, activities. And then the third about the Indonesian river restorations is the ones that my colleagues actually do a lot of things on this. And then the fourth is regarding the river conservations in my city. My city is heritage city, that we have the king, Al-Sultan, that become the governor, and the other king become the vice governor of my province. It's about Sabta Sindawa. Maybe we have the same terminology in this case. Maybe I can also then later on discuss about this. And then the fifth is my responsibility as architects with my husband, part of the community. So what we're supposed to do with our house. So introductions about Indonesia and Yogyakarta. This is actually the ones that I will show today. Indonesia, we have so many things actually. With the islands, we have more than 17,000 islands. We have more than 260 million people. We have more than 300 regional languages. We have extraordinary collection of the natural and cultural heritage. And we have more than 6,500 rivers. I try also to find actually how many rivers that we have. The statement from the governments, but they have different data. And we have the longest river is in Kalimantan Island. Kalimantan is here, is the biggest one. Here, the longest is 1,143 kilometers. And my town is in here. So Kalimantan, they have approximately 3 or 5 the longest rivers. And Indonesia is actually the mosaic of Saujana cultural landscape that I will talk later on. This is the ones that Yogyakarta is provincial. We have the Yogyakarta special territory because, as I mentioned before, we have the king, we have the second king, that they also, as our role as the governor and also the vice governor, and it used to be, this one is the kingdom. And we have what is called Sabta Sindawa, is 7 river, Sabta 7, and Sindu rivers, Sindawa is plural. It is very important river in our city. And next, yes. This is the city of Yogyakarta. We call it the heritage cities. we, and this place, actually the place where kingdoms also place their palace due to the conditions of the river. So for instance, this is the former palace of Kota Gede, is the 15th century. We also have this river. And Keraton Yogyakarta is the palace of Yogyakarta because of very important river, this one, and also Jode River. And the smaller palace, Puro Pakualaman. And also the important palace for me, this is my house, is also in this. And Winongo River actually also having the spiritual, as the spiritual river, because in the ancient time, this area, the canals surrounding the fortifications, also receive water from the Winongo like this. So they make it like a forbidden river because no one can utilize this river. So the Sri River, Winongo, Jode River, and Kajalwong River is very important in Yogyakarta, as well as in Indonesia, because in the Jode River, later on I will mention, this river actually, the community is very active, and they are actually many of them are pioneer for the Indonesian river restoration movement. And this is my university, built in 1949. Talking about Saujana, the terminology of Saujana is Indonesian word. The meaning is as far as you can see. And when we established our first chapter of Indonesian Heritage Conservation with our colleagues, we have committed that we will utilize Saujana as the terminology to translate cultural landscape. So heritage Saujana is the inextricable unity between nature and man-made heritage in space and time. So this is something that in 2003, we started to do more about Saujana. I won't mention, yes?
Sorry to interrupt. The sound is not clear. Can you try after removing the headphones?
Yes. Maybe I will try without this. How about this one?
Yeah, it's clear.
It's okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Continue.
Okay. And I won't read everything in here, but this is, you can then later on, I will share this one to all of you, so you can also read the things. And what is important also in the UNESCO, and started in 1994, they also classified heritage into natural heritage, cultural heritage, and cultural landscape heritage, that we use the word Saujana. And the Indonesian word for heritage, we use pusaka. And I learned about the river actually in 2004, when we started to have the international field school on Borobudur Saujana heritage. Because of our temple, that is the World Cultural Heritage Temple of Borobudur, is surrounded by the ancient lake. And I'm lucky actually, in Yogyakarta, we have so many experts. So like this one, Dr. Helmi, he is geologist. He taught us what is actually ancient river is surrounded in this very important world cultural heritage of Borobudur. So you can see this one. This is actually not the river previously, but it's the ancient lake. And this is not the stone, but this one is more the sediment of the ancient lake, the clay sediment. And this is the way when we have he taught us how to know more about these things. So, and finally, with our colleagues, Professor Kanki, Titi, we published a book of Borobudur as cultural landscape. Maybe you can find on Amazon.com. And my colleagues who work on this field school, including Dr. Twita, Dr. Helmi, and also the local people like this one, Mas Hatta, he is also wrote in our books. So this is about the first, we actually talking about the Saujana as well as the river. And 2010, we have collaborations with Ergoed Nederland, with Indonesian Heritage Trust, then UGM and Ministry of Education, as well as UNESCO. We have a research actually previously, and then we published a book on Indonesian educations, especially for the students. And one of the teacher wrote a story about this canal, Mataram Canal, that was built during the Sultan Hamengkubuwono IX. Now it's the 10th, and with the people. So this is something that actually the canal, and we learn canal, we learn river is part of our heritage. And 2012, the Ministry of Public Work and Indonesian Heritage Trust, we have collaborations on technical assistance to many cities on conservation of heritage cities. And we found there are very, very important cities that have been located in a very important river, like Palembang, it is in Sumatra. They have and they call it the city as the Kota Tepian Air. It's mean riverside city, and Musi River in South Sumatra. And then Banjarmasin is the Kota Seribu Sungai, city of 1,000 rivers, with the Martapura River that continued with the Barito River. This is in Kalimantan. So actually from those two cities, it represents also how Indonesia is so diverse. So this is three things, Borobudur and this that I show to you all, because like I mentioned before, we have more than 6,500 river. And there are many cities that close or even in the river side of the river. It's so diverse. And my approach, of course, like already previously mentioned, that
Dr.
Indonesia, yes?
Sorry to interrupt again, but
Yes.
there are really lots of disturbances coming. Maybe your phone is interrupting with the bandwidth or something.
Oh, no. No telephone. It is something.
The sound is not quite clear.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, right now it's okay, ma'am. Right now it's okay, but
Okay. Yes. Okay. And this is about the community movement. We have the group of the heritage movement and river restoration movement. Almost started at the same time in 2000s. And this is a scope of the national movement. And this is what me, myself, actually focus more in the heritage movement. In this case, started with establishing the Jogja Heritage Society, and then 2000 established the Indonesian Heritage Conservation Network. And like I mentioned before also, that in 2003, we have the Indonesian Heritage Year, as well as published the Charter of Indonesian Heritage Conservations. And then in this charter that we mentioning about the Indonesian heritage is natural heritage, cultural heritage, and Saujana heritage, this cultural landscape. And at the same time, in Indonesian river restoration movement, they have develops a lot of river communities by the local people, as well as creating school rivers. In Indonesian Heritage Trust, we have also developed the Indonesian Heritage Trust, and then having the Indonesian Heritage Cities Network. This is the member are mayor. And 2013, we have the Indonesian Heritage again, Indonesian Heritage Year again, and then 2013 Charter of Indonesian Heritage Cities, and 2019 Charter of Indonesian Heritage SONA. And this is the story about the river started because we bought land near the river, near the river in 2010, and then we started to build a house there. And that's why I learned that there is a lot of movement in this case on the river restorations, and those movement is connected with all groups. And we belong to the local river groups. It is Binomo River, where the forum communications is Binomo Asli and Yogyakarta. We collaborate with many universities, various foundations, as well as the private sector and governments. And from the heritage point of view, 2023, we will organize again the Indonesian Heritage Year. And the Indonesian River Restoration Movement, they have goals that 2025, the network will enlarge 75% district, all Indonesia, and also 75% rivers in Indonesia, clean, healthy, and conserved. So now I will start with Indonesian river restorations. This is the pioneer, is my colleague, Dr. Agus Mariono, who is now is administration, also coordinator of the Indonesian River Restoration Movement. And what is statement is actually the condition of Indonesia is in common with what you have also in Nepal. We have a serious problem. The river, many settlements move closer and closer to the rivers. Settlement occupy the river flood plains. That is mostly the condition like that. And river change into canal. People treat river as a waste disposal. Damage of catchment areas create flood and a drought. And this is why the Indonesian River Restoration Movement, because they really need the movement to learn, to act, to solve the problem right now. And learning from Dr. Mariono, we can learn that those their approach is, of course, based on the Sustainable Development Goals. This is, I think we have the same goals in this case. And then the system of approach, networking approach, communication approach among people. And we are lucky that now we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook, we have Zoom right now, and it's very easy for this communications. And then my colleagues also, he published a lot of book about restoration, river restorations, and book about river itself. And this is very important to have the knowledge-based approach, and book as well as river schools should be established. River schools, so in this case, education is very, very important. Then the success of the SDGs, will be happen because of the involvement and movement of the community. So community-based approach. This is the things that should be done. And river restoration, the goal of the community right now is to set activities to restore the river from degradation conditions as much as possible to its original conditions. And focus of those restorations is restoration of hydrology, ecology, morphology, social, economic, and culture, as well as the restoration of institution and regulations. And the process as well, they have goals, they have main activities, and the outcomes. It's important also is how the activities itself. They have cleaning up, replanting the river, remandering, revegetating, river flood plains, and also the river banks, and education of environmental, socio-economic, and cultures. So the outcomes will be not only mainly the river, but the detail of this is water, the food, energy, environments, energy, disaster, socio-economic, and culture. It's very comprehensive in this case. You can see also this example of the pictures of the community that working in the river. And the river movement, like I mentioned before, is actually started from Yogyakarta, from the Chode River, but many people there have love to get togetherness, spirit, motivation, harmony, and productive. So the development of the river community is very important, and then they will working together regularly to clean, and then managing the solid waste, sanitation, environments. They make an event, work competitions, waste collecting and planting, and creating the river schools. And from Dr. Mariana also, he mentioning about the future programs. After connecting among Indonesians, and then they would like also to connect to the ASEAN countries as well as to the world. I think it will be very important also if we can connect also the movement in Indonesia with in Nepal. So there will be people to people, community to community discussion and working together is very important. So the point, this is also, you can see the goals within 2025. This is the ideas, and now is in 2020. And start to come to Yogyakarta. This is Sabta Sindawa, because in Yogyakarta is a heritage cities, and we have the mythology, cosmologies, is as a basic for our concept to build a lot of things, spatial planning, as well as the structure of the city. And we learned that river is important in the development of Indonesian culture. The river is guide to cultural movement in the archipelago. Through the river, non-local culture received by the people of the archipelago. Each river has its own characteristics and a specific way of adaptations. My colleague Nayati is research more on these issues. But in the case of my city, our city actually is excluded from outside because the access is very limited. We surrounding with Mount Merapi, we have many hills in this case, but we are prosperous regions. And the river in the before 17th centuries, when we call it the ancient of Java, is a place for farming and also river trading and maritime. The important things that later on I would like also to develop more is those area in Yogyakarta have what is called asram. Asram is the place where people will learning, they share knowledge. There will be a Brahmana to teach to Shia. This knowledge, the fact, there will be a complete things. It's very dynamic and it's moving one to other places. And this is asrama located near to the river. So this is why the seven river in Yogyakarta is very important in the internal development of these regions. It's not the connections with others. So when Mangkubumi, the Prince of Mangkubumi in 1755 built the kingdom of Yogyakarta, which is called Yogyakarta Sultanate. So they have a philosophy, certain philosophical concept about the harmony with nature, about the peaceful origin and direction, and still many of the things. Those can be remain to the present time is actually we have this connection also how we can conserve and maintain utilize of the river. This is actually something that we discussed last year with my colleague Vidya Saputra, that this is something that we would like to learn more and more about this issue of cultural ecology. And this is the river Chode, the ones that the pioneer of the Indonesian river restoration movement. And this is something that we still want to learn more and more. How is the important of the cultural ecology? How is the important connection between tangible thing with intangible things? And I would like also to share the need and also the spirit of the local people in my city is very high. And they also asked an artist, Slamet Raharjo, to be the river ambassador of Jogja River. So this is very interesting also, the movement of the local people. But in my city, maybe different with others, we have also another disaster. This is from our Mount Merapi, volcano Merapi. This is one of the big volcanologists in the world. So 2010 it was happened, the eruption, and affected many rivers in Yogyakarta. You can see this one. This is the condition that we have to prepare on this thing too. Like this is the Chode River that I mentioned before, and this is the city of Yogyakarta. And this is my house. So we have to really ready on this. And this is the Chode River. And we visited this river Gendol, is in this area. The river is in this area where many villages also covered by the lahar. Lahar is the cold eruptions that become the flood to those area. And this is something that we really have to prepare on this issue, because we living with harmony with the disaster. And conditions of the villages surrounding those rivers, like the Bronggang village. And it was happened that we from the university at that moment, we have to wait 2 weeks after the eruptions that we came to this affected area. Almost all river here is covered with this lahar. And once again, this is the Chode River in Yogyakarta, the pioneer of the Indonesian river restorations. And you can see this is, I wrote also so many actually community that established in every groups. So from the north to the south, and maybe now it's already more than this that I wrote here. So at that moment also, the problem is the flood that it can be like this, because they don't have anymore the plains for the river flood plains anymore. This is the ones that we have to really care on and prepare for the flood. And my city is very active. As I mentioned before, also in my cover of these presentations, we have the seminar, we have the jamboree, and in the jamboree they have a seminar, we have the school, river school, we have appreciation of the community, river community, and we have also the visiting several river. At that moment, we promote the importance of the sungai. My sungai become ours. Sungaiku is my river. martabatku. Martabat is dignity. So my river, my dignity. And many people attended of this seminar. And the presenter, like me, and then this is from Jakarta, central governments. This is an expert, this is also expert, and this is also community leader. So we get together and we have a discussion on these things. Now I would like to talk about my local organizations in my river that established in 2009. It's called Forum Communications Beautiful Winongo. Winongo is the name of the river. And this is actually, our river is from the north going to the south, and there will be the ocean is here. I live surrounding here. So this program of this community is now divided into three also. This is the area of the north, Sleman Regency, and then the Jogja regions, Jogja cities, and then the Bantul Regency. They launched in 2005, One River, One Plan, and One Management by the local. And the vision is Winongo River, clean, healthy, and productive. The missions, conservation to ensure the availability of the raw water, improve the healthy living environments. The third, improve the livelihood of the river community to be more productive, and building community behavioral or culture change in respecting to the Winongo River itself. Many activities done by our organization, our local community organization in this case. For instance, in collaboration with other foundations, other university from Surakarta, we have the focus group discussion to generate more ideas on how to have more activity on a river restoration, that the approach is based on the district, based on the area, from the upstream into the downstream. And last time we organized also, supported by the governments. They have the governments that focusing on the river. We call it Balai Besar Sungai. Serayu and Opak. From Serayu to Opak is several rivers. In collaboration with the forum of the communication of Winongo, a beautiful Winongo, in my house. So we have like a ceremony, we have the program also to, as a starting point of the people from my area to the south part of this river, using the river boat, small, sometimes also using other tools to clean and also to see how it's happened on this area. So this is something that a program that actually annually organized. In 2018, with the government of Yogyakarta City, in collaboration with my faculty and my university, with this organization, FKWA, we conducted a study on the development strategy of ex-open dumping ground. Is in the area of Winongo River. This area, it actually used to be so many garbage. And this is my house, in this area. The social and physical issue, especially the physical issue, is due to the river floodplains that illegally utilized by the people. And even open dumping grounds still active. There's so many garbage like this. And last time we also celebrate the World Heritage Day on 18 April, but with the big plan to promote the importance of the cleaning of the river. This is something that the issue that now is still happen in this area. And also the people sanitation infrastructure that is very weak also in this. Our ideas is of the developments with the governments that we discussed to transform open dumping ground into urban kampung forests, where then we can restore the river floodplains, we can build urban kampung forests with endemic trees, then we can also plant important trees there that the name of Winanga itself from the plant of Kenanga. So this is the Kenanga. And then the children playground, we would like to create a local unique market over there, and also jogging track, horticultures, and also the art space on those areas. A lot of dreaming, sure. Now, my last part of presentation is about our house. This is as a responsibility of architects, part of the community. This is in the Saujana conservation of the river. What we started to think is actually at that moment is place remaking for sharing knowledge. Yeah, we have knowledge. We have a lot of friends having knowledge. We have a lot of activities of sharing knowledge. So why not we utilize that places for sharing knowledge? Skill as well as the science. And we start when we develop. This is the area. And first, of course, we have to make this to like a fortification, but this is important for the storms of our building later on. We would like to keep the river floodplains empty like this, and we would like to conserve this one. And this is also, we have the legal written from the governments that we can build this area into building after, but not in this river floodplains. However, you can see this is my neighbor. They still have the house over here. And many of the river all over Indonesia is having like. So this is responsibility once again as an architect. So we cannot build something here. And of course, we would like to build, this is our private house, and we still have a lot of activities that we would like also to develop over there. And the important also, once we live there, then river is also part of our garden. So we have to also to clean it, and then give my neighbors' children also can play there, can swimming there, or even they can playing in this area, also this area. So this is something that we cannot occupy 100%. We have to really work together with the community, and my neighbor also utilize this for circulations, and they would like also to clean. So we have a mutual understanding among us. And like previous place along the river is a place for sharing knowledge. So we would like to build like a place, asrama, a place where people exhaust themselves, people force themselves by learning other science skills such as science, technology, language, art, and religion. And this science and skill that's called FACS is something that we would like to develop this. And this is a lot of dream actually in this, but this is part of the responsibility. This is intangible things. We have now the asrama, we have the knowledge that we would like to spread out to, and maybe a couple of years from now, I would like to retire from the university, so maybe I can develop more about this education from the house. But not the pandemic. Now we are already education from the house, so we are teaching from the house as a. So this is thing, and this is something that we would like to develop more. And I have a lot of colleagues that they really wants to be the teacher to learn our neighbors for painting, drawing, flower arrangement, or making the batik and others. From the point of view of the tangible cultural heritage as well as the natural, conserving the Saujana River of outstanding value. And for us, our outstanding value is the settlement, the house itself, the valet, and so many actually remaining of these stones that when we design something, let the stones live there, because we can learn a lot of things about this. And cultivate the bamboo, use as our construction, we can use for the house, part of this, and make it clean. This is actually something difficult because we cannot control all the time with this cleaning of the river. And thank you for our colleagues, Jahangir Khan, when he was in my house, we took a lot of pictures of details of our house. So this is actually part of the contribution of architectural designs that my students also can learn what we utilize on this case. So this is something, once again, responsibility as a person working and an architect, teaching architecture, especially also the heritage, the conservation. So a lot of things that we should also thinking to conserve the outstanding value. And this time also, the time I would like also to introduce this, when my good friend, Anju, good friends, introduced me to Anju as our late Ahmad Juhara. He was our president of Indonesian Architect Association. And he was actually have a spontaneous ideas. Let's have breakfast in my house. So this is at 6 o'clock in the morning, because the hotel that they stay is close to my house. So I can pick them up and then come to my house and having the breakfast. This is the first time he came to my house and the last time. And because of this, then we connected. So I hope that Juju, I call him, is happy in the heavens and to see our collaborations. And as our house would like to be also the art space, because we love on the art, we active on this activities on this art. One day, the maestro of Kartika Afandi, painter of Indonesia, she came to my house and she wants to make paintings and bamboo, our outstanding value in this area. So it's something that attracted her to me. And this paintings now is in my house. So I'm very happy with this. As for me, this is a kickoff of this area is also part of the asrama for learning the art from painting or others. And this is as an asrama, this place for the students that they can come. This is my students, architecture students, came to see how to develop the house, still using the topography, maintaining all assets of the natural heritage of a town. And this is the civil engineer students that they organize also to learn of how is the river. And also group of the bamboo activists and lover having a meeting. So we prepare and I set up with this chairs, table, all from bamboo. Last year, we also set up for the establishing education on conservation theory and practice for cultural heritage. This is among 10 universities, Europe, Indonesia. And last year also, we have the lectures from Mr. Manu Wijayasaputra, who I learned from him. Because this is only a few of the experts in Yogyakarta that can read Sanskrit. Maybe you can read this one. So he has a lecture also in my house and attended by the local group and also our local river. And this is something that actually we would like to share more and more in this place. So gender conservation of river is about networking, learning, moving forward, and working together all stakeholders, lead actually by local communities, should be the leaders on this case. And we higher educations, we will support, we need also this collaboration, private sector, governments, and others. And of course, as a inhabitants, I have to have more initiative on this case. Then to comprehensively explore cultural ecology as potential problem solving in facing current urban challenges. So like about the bamboo, I have to learn more and more bamboo. I still have only like 10 species of the bamboos. In Indonesia, we have 160 species of the bamboo. So I have to have more because we can learn a lot of things from this bamboo. And do it with passion and love. Is it what I learned from my friends, volunteers, and this river restoration movement. And thank you very much. Hope you can enjoy about this my presentations. And one day you can come also to my house. Although right now I miss the ducks that usually come to my house, but right now they don't come anymore. They don't visit me anymore. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Laretna, for a very interesting presentation. We have very similar problems here in Nepal to our riverfronts that have so much cultural and religious values are being encroached and they're deteriorating a lot. So there have been a lot of movements on upgrading these riverfronts and making them better. But we face a lot of problems like the encroachment of the floodplains that, like you explained, that is happening in Bali also, and in Indonesia. And the open dumping sites are also a big problem here. So we also had
Similar,
program called Clean Bagmati, and that was really people of the community who were actively involved in cleaning the rivers. So that was one really good approach that we had. And we also had one Narayangarh Narayani riverfront. There's one river front development happening there, but one issue that arose was the people, local community there were not aware of what was happening there. So that became a very big issue recently. So what we've learned from your presentation is the importance of community involvement in such projects for it to be successful. One question I'd like to ask is, there are a lot of stakeholders involved in such processes, the community people and the government people and all the designers. So it's really hard to take everyone's thought and bring out something that's good for everyone. So what were the challenges that you faced in this process and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, actually started with the help of from the mass media. Yeah, actually mass media also connected us, and then the government actually also received program or proposal from the local people to, if they want to develop more and more on the certain area, so they will help. And there's also program come from the governments. And there's also program in the case of the one of the most populated river in Indonesia also, that there are a lot of direct program from the central governments to support on this area. And students, there is also a program what is called Student Goes to the River, where they make a research, they make with the advice by their professors. So river is part of from the laboratory for the students. So those kind of various program and then work in the same area is very important. Last time we have a discussions with several colleagues from various university, and then they have a program in this certain area, in certain drainage basin, for instance, in certain area, and then the other area will be another university. So we can also do something like that to share our program.
Thank you. So we'll be taking questions from the audience. If anyone has any question, please post it on the question and answer section and not on the chat box, please.
Dr. Laratna?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have one question here.
Yes.
So, like during the conservation of the riverfront areas in your place, was it all the local ethnic people, or there's a mix of migrants during the development of the project, or like the development of the concept that you had? And what kind of difference does it make when there are like mix of people working in one common goal? Is there anything?
Yeah, this is not easy, actually. For instance, even me and my neighbor, they don't like me to have the bamboos. Bamboo is very important in the river, but they want to be like a urban area, and then the bamboo is actually a lot of garbage from the leaves. Even in between neighbors, there is also conflict. But yeah, we have to be very patient. That's the only way. Up to now, my house previously, the place is also garbage area. So this is something that is passion. This passion is, and we have to really communicate. We have to make the also the example. But this also something that I would like also to do a lot more in my house is also making more example. This is I don't have to break the law, for instance. So it's not easy.
All right. And the other one is like, I mean, here in Kathmandu, especially in Kathmandu, I mean, we have a long relationship between the riverfront areas and the cultural uh, areas, I mean, cultural spaces here for a long, long time. So, I mean, we have the temples, the rest houses that what we call patis and satters, where people reside there temporarily. So, I mean, Is that the same case in Indonesia, where you have the cultural activities going in along the riverfront areas over there?
Yes, yes, we have a lot of places. For instance, in the case of our World Heritage is Prambanan, for instance. So there is this is very close with the river, but the program is already not so many settlement on those area. This is actually easier and compared to the area where there is a lot of settlements. But on the other hand, settlement is actually the ones that can the group that they can actually become the river keeper. This is the program that should be then once again to be patient to develop more and more on how we can collaborations with the local people. Yes, we have a lot of places in Indonesia that very close with this river because civilization usually start is close to the water, so like what you have in there.
We have another question.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a bit more about heritage education for school children, where the storybooks are a mix of local myths with contemporary issues?
Yes, this one, even though not really contemporary issue, but actually we try what is can be called as a heritage. For instance, like the canal. Not a lot of people understand that this is a heritage. But with this, then we learn about this is heritage. And then about the food, we have a heritage. So this is actually the book more on a comprehensive understanding what is called heritage. So heritage is not just about the physical aspect like a temple or a palace, but also it can be the dancing, but also can be a culinary heritage. This is a, and we start from, once again, it's also from Yogyakarta. So this book, uh, you can also find in our website is an ebook, but in Indonesian language. So if you need this access, I can send it to you. Also in the UNESCO, because we can then see this ebook. Yes. Regarding the contemporary, we have, and I'm teaching in a university, what I call the adaptive reuse of the heritage building. So as an architect, so this is one of the things that now I develop more and more with students. And also for the final projects, also the students take this as final projects on how to adapt the heritage into contemporary buildings.
Okay. Another question is, how long did it take to convince the community about the projects?
It's depend on the community itself, and like our projects in 2018 up to now is not yet under the government's program, and we still try to find support from the community as well as from the private sectors. So it's already 2 years. So we still have to develop and develop. Once again, we have to be patient. It's not we can do it right away. But to clean up, yes, we can. Let's go and then make it clean up with this. Then this is something that we can do. But if we develop and we inserting a program for the contemporary issues, for the others developments, this is yes, take time.
Okay. I have one personal query about this because in Nepal also there are lots of these problems related to riverfront. I mean, there are lots of youth, usually youth in the community who want to do something about it, but they really don't know the process. And uh, one of the most difficult challenges is the funding. So in your projects, how did you manage the funding for everything?
The funding is actually piece by piece. For instance, I got funding from the university on certain amount of very small money, then we will develop. And then my colleague will fund from the governments, then we will fund. So something like that. We have to create ourselves. Is it from our river, and from the others also there are groups that having collaboration with the what you call it, the social responsibility from the private sectors. Yes, it will be then funding on those things. Yeah, entrepreneurship. We have to develop this gets to find funding. It's not easy. But once again, passion. This is the way.
So we have another question from the audience. How much problem do you have of plastic waste in rivers in Indonesia?
A lot, a lot, a lot. Yes, there is a lot. Yes, and especially like in the pandemic right now, even become more and more, and it's not easy. Last time when we have a program on cleaning up the area close to my house, one truck they found the carpets by the community. But this happened, yes. But that's why we have to make it continually then to clean up. But the problem is once again the water is the drainage basin is from the upstream, then going to downstream. So we cannot control this one.
Okay. Another question is the one thing that we have in common, Indonesia and Nepal, is the encroachment of the river flood plains by illegal housing. So, how do you manage that in Indonesia? What is the tactical way of moving forward? Because it's really people are living there, but we have to solve that problem.
In the case on the very inner city of my city, even they cannot do anything. The program is how to make them. Previously is the back side of the house, and now they have to make it as a front of the house, and we still have at least 2 meters for walking. This is very in an inner city, but in the others, if there is still a lot of plenty land, this is the regulations, the enforcement of regulation will be stronger. But in the case, and for instance, in my house, I follow the regulation, but my neighbor, they don't follow it. Yeah, but it's very difficult in this case. Yeah, but once happened the flood, then they will complain. They need support, and then yeah, this is the conditions. Yeah, we have to be more having the school river program more to the local. So right now with my colleagues, we still have a community services that we will make the more program with very local people in the next to the bank of this river, especially for the in context to the environmental activities, as well as how to make these areas healthier, and the people can do a lot of things without having problem on the health, especially in the pandemic time like now.
Okay. One more question from the audience. The river that you presented, do you face high floods during monsoon? If yes, how do you manage it?
In the Chode River, the ones that very close place. When in the mountains, they have, for instance, lahar, called lava, and then if there is rain, they will then flood coming to this area. In my river, it's not directly to the mountains, but it's happened also flooding. And last time in the south side of my house, they have flooding on this case, and now they try to clear up certain obstacle. For instance, like they have a bridge that's very small, and then they open it. And I have a friend also. He's a very famous artist, a dancer. So he already designed her house in a second stair is that house, and then the first the ground is something. If there's happen a flood, then there will be then no problem for his belonging. So they have to respond with this.
Okay, one more question about the plastic problem that you have in your rivers. How do you take care of it, and is it recycled?
Some of the villages, they have the bank to collect the garbage, but not in my village. So actually, I try to promote to have this the plastic bank that they can also recycle of this, but it's not yet done in ours. The carpet is still everywhere, and my local leader just talk to me, and I have to close my area because they don't want me my area become also the open dumpling for them. So I close some part of mine because of this behavior. Once again, we have to be patient.
Another question is, how easy is the teamwork done, and what sectors work together to achieve success?
In my experience, last time when we organized a lot of activities, it is done by organization of various sectors or various parties, including governments, or local, and university. So the students actually the people that can support the activities of the. And in Indonesia, we are happy to have our colleagues that we publish a lot of book on the river restoration. This is very important because, and very easy to read by the locals, so they can then understand what is they supposed to do. And because we have the WhatsApp group for the whole Indonesia, for Yogyakarta, and for this area. So we can learn we can communicate, and we can learn from there what they are doing. So sharing is something that important in our program. So we can learn from others.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Laritna, for a very interesting session. So from the interaction and from your presentation, we've learned that community involvement is really important for any such public projects to happen and for it to be successful. And
architects very also needed.
Yes. So I think the key is to balance all the stakeholders and the vision that you have, the common vision you have, and to work for it patiently, as you have said. So I think if we don't have any more questions, we can conclude now. Oh, we have one more question from the audience before that. How are your rivers connected to culture of the place? Any specific festivities?
Yes, this is actually a lot of culture activities that already done also by the local. For instance, like they have the word merti kali. Merti means cleaning up. cleaning up the river vertically. So before they cleaning up, they will do a lot of offering. They will have a performing art. They will do a lot of activities on cultures. So this is something that is originally water is something that we then offer not only with offering with food or others, but also offering with dancing. Dancing for this water resources. Then dancing is not just only for the performance, but dancing is for the water. There is also water resources, and the river is very, very important. It's just the cultural things.
Okay. So we've come to the end of today's session. I'd like to again thank Dr. Laritnati Adishakti for her time. And I think we still have a lot of problems regarding the riverfronts and
Same with us.
Yeah, but because of the initiative taken by people like you, we're a lot more closer to what we want from these spaces. So thank you again. And
You are
I'd
welcome.
like to ask Architect Abhishek if he has any concluding words from SONA's behalf.
Uh, First of all, would like to thank Dr. Loritna for precious time for our organization to have some sort of like an eye-opening kind of thing for us, because I think the issue that you have worked on and also faced is almost same what we are facing right now. I mean, the riverfront areas. I mean, they used to be one of the most beautiful parts of the city area that what we used to have earlier. But now it's a bit of in degrading state because of the changing of the lifestyle, and also the mismanagement of the spaces that we have around. All the I mean, though the like the culture spaces what we have right now is also, I mean, in a kind of a transformation phase because of the changing the lifestyle and also the land use planning over here. So I think including me and like the people over here who have listened to your presentation. I mean, they have some sort of idea how to tackle the ongoing issues of the riverfront. I mean, the projects and everything. So on the behalf of 13th Executive SONA, I mean, Society of Mayors Architects, we would like to, I mean, heartily thank you very much
You are welcome.
for your precious time
Thank
and
you.
for us.
Thank you so much too.
Santula, I think you can conclude.
Okay, so we are officially at the end of today's session. Do stay tuned for more interesting discussions and interaction sessions by SONA. And so that's it. Thank you, everyone.